Breaking news tonight. Reports of shots fired at a gas station that's been the site of protests and drug arrests. We're continuing our severe weather coverage tonight. 16 WAPT's Jennifer Ortega is live in Jackson.
1 year ago, where I'm standing right now underneath the Mississippi River Bridge in Vicksburg, the water level was way up there, about 20 feet above where I'm standing. The Sheriff's Department solved one problem today by quelling this riot, but now faces bigger ones. How to pay for the damage, where to put the inmates in the future. Firefighters on the scene of a massive apartment fire. Witnesses say the blaze broke out sometime after 8 tonight at the park at Autumn Ridge.
Jennifer, we see some trouble on the roads tonight, haven't we? Breaking news tonight. Reports of shots fired at a gas station that's been the site of protests and drug arrests. One Jackson police officer has been wounded. 16 WAPT's Jennifer Ortega joins us live. Jennifer, what do we know? More information coming in on that shooting incident at Bailey Avenue and Northside Drive where a Jackson police officer was shot in the leg. We're told he was grazed. We just heard from Calendula Green from JPD. Here's what she had to say. Once again, a Jackson police officer shot in the leg. Reportedly, he was grazed. This happened at a convenience store at Northside Drive and Bailey Avenue, the scene of several prior problems with Jackson police. Arrests made there, including opium charges. Again, police on the scene, multiple shots fired. According to JPD, at least 3 shots they believe fired at that JPD officer. Once again, though, confirming the officer reportedly grazed in the leg. The injury is not considered to be life-threatening. As you can see right here to the video, there are numerous suspects who have been taken into custody. We certainly do not know anything about any charges yet, but we certainly have video and reports of suspects taken into custody. You can bet we're going to stay on top of this story throughout the night. Tonight at 10, Benton police say a masked man tied up 2 Dollar General clerks and robbed the store. 16 WAPT's Jennifer Ortega has more on this caught-on-camera crime. All right, thanks a lot, Nathan. You know, we're continuing our severe weather coverage tonight. 16 WAPT's Jennifer Ortega is live in Jackson. Jennifer, we see some trouble on the roads tonight, haven't we?
50 miles per hour.
It's been wet. You know, new tonight, an 18-wheeler wreck over in Warren County. Check that out. MHP trooper Eric Henry telling us this 18-wheeler traveling eastbound east of Vicksburg rear-ended another 18-wheeler. Now, this happened around 6 o'clock on I-20 eastbound. Caused one of the rigs to flip over its side. You can tell right there. That driver was transported to River Regions with injuries. The other driver, we're told, was not hurt. JPS bus drivers are ending their 9-day walkout on Monday. 16 WAPT's Andrew Kinsey has details on what led up to the move and reaction from parents. Police have made 2 arrests in an armed robbery in Vicksburg. That robbery happened at the River Oaks Apartments on Drummond Street last night. 16 WAPT's Hadass Brown spoke with the victim's mother about what happened. Happening now, neighbors in Jackson's Bel Air neighborhood are coming together after their neighbor, 67-year-old Helen Harrion, was murdered at her home last week. 16 WAPT's Hadass Brown is live there. And Hadass, what do neighbors have to say about what happened? Now, according to Pearl Police, it might have just been ruled a horrible Saturday accident here at this Walmart in Pearl if the 2 suspects had stayed to offer assistance to their 85-year-old victim and been truthful with investigators. 44-year-old Rebecca Bobo turned herself into Pearl Police just after midnight Tuesday morning. She wasn't allowed to go home, instead locked up in the Rankin County Detention Center. Pearl Police also want to arrest her mom, 71-year-old Lois Warnock, who was driving this motorized grocery cart Saturday morning that plowed 85-year-old Erling Sturgis into the ground. The victim, who was on her walker just before the crash, now has 2 broken vertebrae in her neck, 3 in her back.
I can't understand why someone would do this and then just despair.
That was but one sticking point in the grocery cart assault case, according to investigators. Not only did the mother and daughter walk away from the injured woman soon after the collision, but surveillance footage shows both driving away with the tailgate of their vehicle lifted. Police suspect it was to block the view of their license plate. When I talked to Rebecca Bobo on the phone, she said it was because her AC wasn't working.
We should have never left there. I realized that was a mistake. We should have stayed and seen about the little old lady, and I'm very sorry.
Both women are charged with simple assault, but 44-year-old Rebecca Bobo is charged with misrepresentation to a law enforcement officer. In short, because authorities have questions about what she said she did after the collision.
Can't really go into the ABCs of that, but I can obviously say that, you know, they were asked to give a fact that they knew to be true already before the case started, and then they immediately went the other direction with it and told them opposite information.
It might have started as a horrible accident at Walmart, but now this caught-on-camera grocery cart case is headed before a judge. Well, police say 71-year-old Lois Warnock lives out of state. They have been talking with her, but there is no indication when she'll turn herself over to authorities. I also spoke with the victim's family. Earlene Sturgis is still in the hospital, 5 broken vertebrae, wearing a back brace today and able to sit up, but no indication when she gets to go home. Live in Pearl, Scott Simmons, 16 WAPT News.
Okay. Yeah, no shirt, no shoes, no service. Not what this man apparently believed to be the case. He allegedly broke into the 303 Jefferson restaurant in Clinton, and police say they didn't have to go very far to catch him.
The restaurant 303 Jefferson hasn't been open long in Clinton.
It's like the police caught him in the restaurant.
But patrons were still talking about what happened Monday morning.
What did they do, break the door? No, the window. The windows to the window.
This is what surveillance cameras captured just before 4 Monday morning. The alarms went off, the cameras were rolling.
Quite honestly, I was thinking, you know, the worst, vandals or kids vandalizing, you know, I was going to come into a big mess.
A shirtless, shoeless guy who was determined to get inside. In the patio, he smashes the window to the door. He grabs a fire extinguisher.
Looks like he's trying to, but I don't think he can get it to work.
Once inside the restaurant, he grabs a few beers, throws a few chairs, even posters off the wall. He had plenty of time to get in and out, but lingered around just a little too long. As he exits the back door, police are there to greet him and throw the cuffs on him.
Suffice to say, the geography of this crime leaves a lot of questions. It is across the street from City Hall. And oh, by the way, the restaurant is also next door to the mayor's house.
You know, I would think the further away from the police station, you know, the better off you are. But
the mayor and police are trying to get to the bottom of this break-in and learn more about the suspect, identified as 33-year-old Gordon Edward Jensen. Police charged him with commercial burglary.
The police station's right there right now. Police station's where?
It is the subject of table fodder at the Clinton restaurant while police pursued the case against the suspect who didn't believe in the policy. No shirt, no shoes, no service.
Scott, I've never seen such. Okay, so what in the world did he steal?
Well, I mean, he stole beer. He took beer, didn't pay for it, drank it. That's theft.
Right.
He's being held with no bond yet. They want some tests done and a mental evaluation before they move any further on this case.
We were on our way to cover another story.
Yes, operator, I'm on I-20.
When we were calling 911, we found ourselves in the middle of a grass fire, gaining speed. Trucks and cars in the interstate pushing through the billowing smoke. Visibility was non-existent at times. In a few short minutes, volunteers from Bovina arrived. Just 2 of them at first, trying to stretch a water hose to reach those hottest spots.
God, you get a little too close to the road.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And no one feels comfortable standing between the fire and the traffic.
He can't move it. He's not slid off too far. If he moves, it's going to tip.
You want to go ahead and add some more hose to that and I'll walk with it?
The fire is pushing past the interstate.
What comes across your mind when you get a call like this?
Thank goodness it in the vehicle.
I don't know how this started. I can't say how it started. It could be a hot muffler. Somebody pulled over for a second.
A match, you know, just you name it. It's chain, tractor, the right concrete and go. Okay, David.
That's it. Good.
And the challenge for these firefighters is their closest backup is in Culkin, about 10 miles away. And those guys are volunteers too.
A little frustrating, to say the least.
Frustrating because someone else's carelessness with a cigarette butt may have caused it. The fire was contained and kept from reaching a farmer's field. And these volunteers are going back to their day jobs.
You ready to back up, Ken?
Hoping drivers will be more careful in these hot, dry conditions. In Bovina, Scott Simmons, 16 WAPT News.
I'll set it for you.
At the Sardis Grocery, it seems everyone has a tale about the fish that will fly through the air.
Yeah, fell in the boat. Matter of fact, he hit my left leg. When he hit, scared the devil out of him.
Some have horror stories.
There's a man from Holly Bluff. He was fishing and had one jump in his face and break his nose.
They are not tall fishing tails. This is Lake George in Yazoo County. These are Asian carp, and they have become the #1 invasive species problem for waterways. Electrical leads in the water can stir them up, but so too the simple hum of an engine. It is a dangerous dance above the water by fish that can reach between 30 and 100 pounds. Jonathan Lucas with Wildlife and Fisheries says he's had too many close calls.
Because people have been killed by these fish. And you take a 40-pound fish, you run in a boat, and it hits you. It's like being hit with a cannonball.
Years ago, they started introducing these carp into aquaculture facilities, fish farms. The idea is they would eat the plankton and keep the ponds clean. The problem occurred, though, when they had big floods. The waters of those ponds pushed into the river and the carp got out.
They move around in schools. So
what is believed to have started in the Arkansas area in the 70s has exploded. The fish feed on plankton and plant life. You can't catch them with a fishing pole, so they thrive. Each time there is a major flood, like in 2010, more of them are pushed into waterways like Oxbow Lakes.
It's always a bad thing to have a species, an exotic species, because it competes with your native fish, or any, whether it's vegetation, animals, or fish. And the problem could be that they're eating the same food that your native fish need to eat.
The problem has reached from the Gulf to the Midwest. In fact, the Army Corps of Engineers is now implementing electric barriers to try and keep the carp from crossing the Chicago waterways into the Great Lakes.
These fish are the #1 invasive species in the world, according to Times Magazine.
Dr. Jack Kilgore is a research fishery biologist. He is investigating the carp dilemma at the Engineer Research and Development Center in Vicksburg. He is also studying how these electrical barriers can best keep the carp from crossing into the Great Lakes and other waterways. It won't work here.
You couldn't create an electric barrier in the Mississippi River. It's just too wide, and it just wouldn't work in that type of environment.
But the carp are threatening local species like paddlefish as they battle the carp for food. The best hope is that local fishermen will start using nets to catch them.
The commercial fishermen can put a dent in their population, there's no doubt about it.
We just have to inspire them.
We have to inspire them.
There is a thriving market for carp in Asia, but not yet in the U.S. Fishermen say it's hard to make a living net catching, processing, and shipping them. Researchers are hoping that will change as the carp population continues to push south towards New Orleans and threaten more waterways and habitat. Scott Simmons, 16 WAPT News.